Hello everybody, my name is Gonzalo Hartstein, and this is my Booktube about the book Shadow Island by Dennis Lehane. So I have chosen activity number 3, which is to describe the characters and the relationships they have with one another, and to describe the development that goes on throughout the story. So I'll begin by describing the characters and their relationships. So our main character in the story is Teddy, who is a U.S. Marshal, so that's pretty much an investigator, and he's put on the case of the disappearance of a woman, a patient, on this island, Shutter Island, which is a prison slash mental institution for the most dangerous mentally insane people in all of America. So this woman has gone missing, and Teddy is put on the case, as well as Chuck, his helper, who is another U.S. Marshal, and they pretty much have to solve her disappearance as she has escaped from her cell, and they're pretty much trying to find her and find out what happened to her. Then we have Collie, who is the main psychiatric doctor on the island, and he's quite a mysterious character who also we're not told much about, and he pretty much acts very strange around the marshals, and he's shown us to not be very trustworthy. We also have Teddy's wife, who died in a fire, as we're told, when quite a while ago, and also Teddy is actually a war veteran, so this will show to be quite an important factor in the story later on. So now to move on to the development of the characters, which is one of the most interesting parts of the story actually, as there's quite a large plot twist towards the end of the book. So pretty much what happens is that Teddy, he's actually not a U.S. Marshal at all. This is simply a story he's fed by the psychiatrist Collie. He's pretty much told this story that he's investigating the disappearance of this patient on the island in an attempt to make him come back to sanity, as this is one of the largest role-playing attempts in all of psychiatric history. So Collie tries to conduct this experiment alongside Chuck, who is actually not Teddy's helper. Instead, he's Teddy's main doctor, who specifies on Teddy. And so pretty much all of what we were told up to this point was a lie, and this was an attempt to get Teddy to come back to sanity. Because what had actually happened is his wife hadn't died in a fire as Teddy thought. This was simply a construct made up by his brain to help him deal with the fact that he killed his wife after she had drowned all 3 of their children after she herself had become insane. So out of fury, Teddy actually went ahead and killed his own wife, although he can't come to terms with what he has done. So therefore, he's actually proven to be quite dangerous to other inmates on the island, so he was threatened to be lobotomized unless he could be brought back to sanity, which is why Crawley and Chuck are trying this audacious attempt to bring him back to sanity. So upon finding this out, Teddy, at first, he can't accept it, not believing that he could do something like that, but he begins to have flashbacks to what he had actually done, and he begins remembering. So it's shown as if the experiment is actually working. He also has flashbacks to his days when he fought in the Second World War and liberated Nazi concentration camps in Germany. So this piles onto the list of horrible things he's done, as he killed many Germans in the war, and all this trauma he realizes has brought him to be insane, alongside him killing his own wife, and his 3 children die. He eventually realizes what he's really done and comes to terms with it. However, in the final scene of the book, he decides to actually be lobotomized by acting as if he's insane, even though he clearly isn't. He asks himself if he'd rather die knowing about the horrible things that he's done, or live on knowing the horrible things that he's done. And he decides he'd rather die so he doesn't have to deal with the things he's done. This is pretty much how the book ends, and that's the development of all the characters. How initially we think they're one thing, but towards the end we're told that this is actually not at all the case. So that's pretty much all there's to say about the characters in the book. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed.